Hey, I'm Dan from RB Leaguers, and this is Reels on Wheels. Now, I know I just posted my Captain Marvel review, be sure to check that out, but Marvel Studios dropped an Avengers poster and, even better, an Avengers trailer this morning, so I just wanted to jump right in and discuss just what we learned in this trailer, what new things we saw, what we can expect from the film based on this, so let's get going. We immediately recognize Iron Man's original armor from that cave. And we hear his voiceover. He's talking to Pepper. He's talking to the audience in a way. It feels like 1,000 years ago. We've gone on this long journey with him, especially him as being the first character. And now we have the culmination of all that story and all those emotions and that failure that they had in Infinity War. And how are they picking up the pieces? Then we see, again, the original Captain America, skinny Steve Rogers, just the kid from Brooklyn who thought he couldn't sit out the war when his friends were fighting for justice and fighting for freedom. And again, it's harkening back to the core of the character, because I think what they're going to show us in this film is that our heroes are being pushed to their limits. They're desperate. They need to fight with everything they've got. They've got to dig deep and just feel how heavy the stakes are, especially with that Peggy Carter voiceover. He went to Peggy Carter in Winter Soldier when he was feeling overwhelmed by the new world and how different things were, and I think this is exactly that kind of feeling. He's feeling even more overwhelmed now. Then it was just with government changes and how society has changed. Now it's with this massive loss of life that they've experienced. They couldn't do anything about it, and he keeps telling people to move on, but they can't. And again, we see with Thor, a little bit of a clip there with him and Odin just to remind us of how arrogant of a character he was and how he rose up and became this protector character and how he feels this onus to protect the earth and protect the realms. And again, he's the only one who could have actually done it. We saw his weapon go and almost kill Thanos, but because of his hubris, he wanted to savor the moment, and that gave Thanos the opportunity to accomplish his mission. So I think here we especially see him feeling the failure and the weight of that decision as we see all of our heroes being dusted and dying. And he says he watched them all die, and I'm sure he'll talk a little more about that in the film, about how he feels like this is really on him. I also just want to comment on the fact that this is just beautifully done here with the way they've removed almost all the color, but they've left the red in. There's something about it. I think the color red is particularly impactful because it's the color of blood. It feels raw. It feels like maybe even a little bit of hope in these clips of not just their past, but also, again, all of the clips of everyone passing away and all of the things they've been through. We even see a clip there of Hawkeye with presumably his daughter, who we now assume has passed away. I guess we'll find out in the movie for sure, but that's probably the reason why we now see him taking this darker turn. We get a quick clip of Ant-Man, who looks like he's probably just gotten out of the quantum realm, and he's seeing all those missing persons posters and just realizing what's happened. And then Black Widow says, we owe this to everyone who's not in this room to try. So obviously they're talking about whatever they're going to try to do to reverse what Thanos did, and obviously they're talking about everyone who's passed away, all their teammates who are gone. But it sounds like the plan is very dangerous, is going to be probably a leap of faith. It's probably a huge risk, but clearly they're willing to take it because they know they're the only ones who can. And I just gotta say, I love this little scene of Rocket on War Machine, on Rhodey's shoulder. It's very similar to when Bucky picked up Rocket and was just spinning around. See, I mean, that's just awesome. And how amazing is it that this is something that really can resonate with fans? We can all get really excited about this. I can't wait to see all the different ways they team up and use the different skill sets to try to undo what's been done. And then, of course, the new tagline. In the first trailer, which they mentioned here, it was, some people move on, but not us. But in this one, it's whatever it takes. So I think they're really just trying to prepare the audience for the fact that this is going to be real. The stakes are going to be real. And we're probably going to lose some of our favorite characters, probably permanently. So I think they're trying to get us ready for that. Unlike most other superhero movies, they're not all going to come out the other side. So obviously in Infinity War, we saw a lot of heroes die, but we saw a lot of heroes die that we already know are coming back, like Spider-Man. We already have his trailers out for his new movie, and we know Black Panther's coming back. So I think this is really the one. Even though, Infinity War felt like this big culmination, I think this is the one that's really going to be the culmination of our favorite characters, because they may not be coming back. This may be some of their final films. And that one look at Captain America just looking like everything is at stake, his life's at stake. I mean, that just alone is so epic. And the best part, though, is it's immediately followed up by Ant-Man jumping on a number 2 pencil. I just love that mashup. There's Cap. He's in the middle of something really intense, huge stakes. And I'm not saying that what Ant-Man's doing isn't epic, but it's just hilarious how they mix those two together. And there he is taking the SATs or something with that pencil and looking similarly epic. So they've managed to pull that off. And then finally, it's Iron Man saying whatever it takes. We know at some point he'll be back to team up with them, but we're not exactly sure when. I want to talk a little bit about this last scene, the whole team in the white suits. Look who's there. I think the biggest thing is, whoa, Iron Man is there, Nebula is there, aren't they in space? If this is early on in the film, how did they get back so quickly? So I want to say a couple things. If we take their word for it that this is early on in the film, then I really think that Iron Man and Nebula aren't actually there. I mean, they've done this before where they've created scenes, they've filmed certain things to put in the trailers to throw the audience off. I think this could be one of those things. I think if he were actually there, he would be probably more in the front of the line. I mean, he's one of the leaders of this team. He's one of the leaders of the Avengers. I think this may be something where they're trying to throw off people who try to piece together the trailers and figure out what happened in the film. It's not entirely clear. Either way, it's super epic to see them suited up. I think one of the coolest things about it is, unlike the usual case in these team-up movies where they all have their different costume or armors or suit, they've really unified here. They're wearing the same uniform and they're actually a full team now. Even if they are kind of piecing together the survivors. And I like how they ended this trailer, this scene with Captain Marvel and Thor. It's usually where they put their comedic beat, and this is somewhat of a funny moment. Thor kind of sizing up Captain Marvel and saying, oh, I like this one. Like, that's kind of funny. But I think it actually is bigger than that. First of all, it's the first time we see Captain Marvel, besides, spoiler alert, at the end of her movie, interacting with the Avengers. And it's Thor sizing her up as a teammate. I mean, he's the most powerful of the Avengers by far. He's the only one who had a chance at defeating Thanos. And so I think showing him kind of sizing her up and she doesn't flinch at all when he brings Stormbreaker over. I think this highlights something that I've been thinking about a little bit. I've heard people saying, you know, if Captain Marvel's just going to come in and beat the crap out of Thanos and defeat Thanos so easily because she's so powerful. Well, Thor was really powerful also. So I don't think that Captain Marvel is just going to be slotted in here to just easily end everything. There's something much more complicated going on here in the storyline that's going to take a lot more than just brawn. Because they're trying to reverse what Thanos did with the Infinity Gauntlet, it's not really just a story about go punch Thanos in the face. Although I do want to see Captain Marvel just punch Thanos in the face, hashtag punch Thanos in the face one time. But I think there's going to be more to it than that. It's going to be more complicated. It's going to be more about the magic and the mythos of the Infinity Stones and what they have to do. Is it time travel, whatever, magic or cosmic things they have to invoke in order to reverse what he did. So I think it's cool here to kind of acknowledge this. Look, Thor's really powerful too. All these people who are saying Captain Marvel's so powerful, it's absurd. I mean, Thor could also do a lot of what she's done in her film, like fly through spaceships and just destroy opponents super easily where there's barely any stakes at all. I mean, we've seen that already. So I know some people were complaining about that, but I think it's great. And I think it's also awesome that they're not just going to be fighting Thanos based on strength, but they're going to have to outsmart him. They're going to have to come up with a strategy, and we're going to really see our heroes push to the limits in this one. But what did you think? I mean, I'm guessing if you've watched a video of someone discussing the trailer, you probably liked it too, but let me know in the comments what you think, and don't forget to subscribe for more Reels on Wheels.